right, we live. What it do, what it is, what's happening with the business be, what up, though? It's your guy, Nate Bennett, one of the co-founders of the Extraordinary Investment Group, here with another episode of the Extraordinary Exchange podcast. I got my guy, Benzino. What's good, Benz?
What's up? Rocking the Orioles. First 100 win season since the 80s. We back.
Okay.
Every week. I told you, every week I got something for you, Bennett.
Yeah, I forgot that quick. I forgot. That's what we go with it. Okay. All right.
First 100 win season since the 80s. We back out here. So we out here, man.
We back
Feeling
out.
good today.
Salute. I don't want to diminish nothing going on up there. Be more one of the dope cities in the country that doesn't get its just due a lot of times. So shout out to the O's, man. Salute.
We out here.
And we got another extraordinary guest here with us this evening from another dope city who gets all the flowers, you know, the Black Mecca, so to speak. But I got the pleasure of meeting her at InvestFest last year. Introduced to one of her many brands. She's a serial entrepreneur, dope energy, very specific. We talked, before we hit record about how specific she is and the multitude of brands that she's built, the way she shows up in certain spaces in the world, how the interaction between those brands and it's super dope. So she wears many hats. Again, entrepreneur, between marketing, podcaster, just an all-around dope individual. And we'll get into her story and exactly what she does. So the CEO of My Networking Apparel, Miss Natasha Hall. What's going on?
Welcome.
Oh, thank you.
This has been a long time coming. This will be, one of the first 25 episodes of the podcast, though. So
super dope.
In a nutshell, give us an abbreviated version of, who you are and what you do.
Okay.
What you do.
Yes. So I am Natasha, and not only am I the brains behind this super dope shirt that I have on, but I'm also the CEO of My Networking Apparel, where we make entrepreneurs the conversation starter everywhere they go. So we have entrepreneurs networking grow rich with networking events as well. And so My Networking Apparel, it's my biggest baby. I'm a mom, super dope mom, a boy mom. I'm also a licensed realtor here in the state of Georgia. I am a CMO to a nationally syndicated radio personality. He resides in Hot 107.9. He has 17 different markets, so that's super fun to do. What else do I do? And I like to do stuff off TikTok, and my Instagram is full of cooking pages. So yeah, that's what I do.
Okay. My Networking Apparel. So I know Nate said earlier, InvestFest. Many of our other guests we met in InvestFest. If not met there, we linked up with them. We're able to nurture our relationship there. Great networking event. What kind of inspires you to do the networking apparel, and what does networking events mean to you?
Great question. So I started networking in seriously in 2010. So in 2010, I was just getting started in entrepreneurship. A lot of people do not know, but I tell this story all the time. My brother was actually an entrepreneur. I started in HR my senior year in high school. So I was in corporate America in high school. And so he was like, "You good on computers? I need you to come work for my promotion team. We're about to start throwing parties. I need you to start doing that admin stuff you be doing at work." And so I pretty much got started doing that with him. Learning how to market on Facebook before Facebook had Business Manager and like all the super bells and whistles that we have now for Facebook and Meta. Those things were not available. So just learning how to build relationships so that people trust me enough to come to our events and things of that sort. So having to do that, I was learning how to network, not only in person because I'm out and about, like add me on Facebook, but also once it gets to Facebook, nurturing those relationships with people. Now I'm speaking the language now, but then I did not know these things, that I was nurturing relationships and gaining leads. I did not know that's what I was doing. I was just out here hustling and making it happen. So fast forwarding, I was realizing that I wanted to do more than parties. Like it was cool. I was just like, I had this large following, but I knew I was put on this earth to do more. And so I wanted to get into community activism. And so one of the things I would do was just go to networking events. And I never saw millennials. They were always older people. They were either older white people or they were older black people. And we used to just stand in those networking events and pass around a mic and tell people what we did. And that is so awkward. Have y'all ever had to sit in front of a room of folks y'all don't know and be like, well, I'm Natasha, and that's awkward. So I used to do that all the time, or I would go to the event and I would be the youngest one. So like, so what you doing in here? Oh, you got a lot to learn, or and they would gatekeep. It would just be a lot. And so I then got into community activism. I started working with doing marketing for politicians locally. So I'm from Columbus, Georgia. That's where I was raised. So it's 100 miles south of Atlanta. For those of you that do not know, Fort Benning is Columbus. So anyway, so I worked with a lot of politicians and worked on their election campaigns. So I was just doing a lot, pretty much what I do now. So doing that caused me to network a lot. And so I started creating my own networking events, which was like industry mixers. So business and industry mixers. Because I was working at the radio station at the time was also something that I was doing. I was on the street team. And so I was just like, okay, we need to connect the music industry with all the business professionals. So that way we can kind of like, just so they can learn the back end of the business. A lot of them were artists, but they knew nothing about marketing, accounting, attorney, like they knew nothing. So just bridging that gap, did that. And I had the mayor come to one of our events. I used to have, and I got to see them last night. So shouts out to Amir Boy, Wilt Wallace. Wilt used to be with Warner Brothers and now he's with Columbia Records, but he would come down, he would come and speak, network with all of the artists. Amir was working with, he was a VP of Grand Hustle at the time. He now works with Interscope. He came down. So I just was literally like leveraging my network to create a network opportunity for others. And so I'm relocated to Atlanta. I thought I was going to be nobody. That didn't happen too far and too long. And so I immediately when I went on to maternity leave, I decided that I was not going back to work. So I was like, t-shirts are dope. I need to come up with a good t-shirt idea. What would entrepreneurs want to wear? So I came up with 3 ideas. One was hustle sold separately, but that was already taken. So I don't like using other people's ideas. You can have that. So then I came up with visionaire. So I had the definition of visionaire on a shirt, and I thought that was super dope. People really like that shirt, but it wasn't the one. So then asked me what I do. My networking shirt was my 3rd one. And it actually became the banger because people were like, hey, this shirt worked. People was asking me what I do. And I'm like, really? I wasn't sold on the shirt when I made it. So I'm like, okay, so it did a year run. And then I actually invested into the brand. And that's how my networking apparel came about. So very long story, but that was just pretty much the history of it.
But no, it's a good story because a lot of good lessons in there. I know we were doing some merchandise, and oftentimes in that merch space, you don't even know what the people want. You know what you like,
Right.
but you don't know what the people like. And so with that story you told is very important because oftentimes you got a couple different ideas of whether you're doing a marketing campaign or put them all out there and see what one gets the best traction and run with that one.
Yep.
But that shirt is an icebreaker. So naturally, in whatever situation you're trying to do to introduce yourself, whatever, if you have an icebreaker and that person approaches you, then that's 90% of the hurdle right there you've crossed just with shirt on. So it's a great idea. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. I tell people it's your wingman. Like you go anywhere and you're like, this shit gonna be awkward, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna wear my Ask Me What I Do shirt because it's just gonna start conversations for me. I've been networking all week. I'm so exhausted, but I have not had to like start any conversation. I was literally like leaned up on the bar and everybody's like, so what you do? So what you do? And it's like, I was able to meet 10 people without even leaving the bar. Like they were just coming to me or they were just in the vicinity and the shirt was just gravitating to them. So I tell people like, if you're an entrepreneur, you need a shirt. I mean, I'm selling it, but I'm really selling it. Like you need the shirt. I have customers literally that makes money every time they wear the shirt. Their trick is they wear the shirt, they take their products with them. So they wear the shirt, people ask them what they do, they get to sample it and people buy it on site. So that is just the awesome thing about the shirt that I wasn't even thinking about people making money for it. I was just thinking about the conversation it starts, but conversations and cash flow is what it does.
There we go.
Conversations and cash flow. Ooh, I like that. I you won't even try to network, and you'll be network. I wore this hoodie on the train, and someone just sat down next to me. I thought it was awkward at first. I was like, "Come on, man, we in the pandemic. Why are you still so close? Give me 6 feet." But they were like, "Oh, yeah, what do you do?" And then got into what we do in the investment group, and the rest is history. So, yeah, dope idea. The idea in there. How did that come about? And what is the idea behind the idea in there name?
I didn't hear. So basically, Instagram had took my Instagram page and I was devastated. I was heartbroken. I was like, fuck Meta, Instagram, Facebook, all that shit. I was like, I'm done with social media. And they gave me my page back like 2-3 weeks later. And it was like, we're sorry, it was an error. Like I still have a screenshot from it because I couldn't believe it. And I was just so mad because one of the things, I'm a control freak, right? And I'm working through it. Me, the Lord, and my therapist, we are working through it. Okay. And so to not have control over my content told me so much. Like it was the biggest lesson going into like where we're going when it comes to technology. We control nothing. If your phone crashed today, that's it. Like that is it. Unless you're backing that stuff up on something that you know you can utilize later on, or you're writing it down on paper, we don't own any of it. It's like their information is their data now. We're just data farming for them. And so it taught me a lot about data farming. So anyway, when they took my page, my homegirl was like, "You got this event coming up. You got to promote it. You're gonna have to come back out there. You just have to start your page. We're gonna have to get everybody to campaign for you." And like, "Hey, Natasha lost her page. Follow this page." So she hyped me up, and I'm like, "All right, we're gonna get back on there." So I'm trying to figure out what my name was gonna be because again, my page was I am Natasha Hall, which I still have that page. It's just tucked off on Instagram somewhere. But I'm like, what do I want to be? And I'm like, at this time, I might as well just streamline everything. This is gonna be the name that I'm gonna rock with forever. This is it. I'm not transforming again. What would just really describe who I am. And so just doing a lot of research. A lot of times when I am doing the self-discovery for myself, I go home and I literally just talk to people. Like I talk to my parents and I talk to my siblings and I'm like, "So what you think? Like if I wasn't doing this, what you think what I would have been doing?" Or like, growing up, how was I? Like I get to talk to them a lot. And a lot of times, they're my biggest critics. So, and they're gonna be honest, but just thinking about it. And so then I'm like, man, Ideaneer, like that's so like I googled, nobody had the name, like you hadn't even nobody's thought of Ideaneer. So I'm like, that's it. I'm just full of ideas. Like every time I turn around, I'm full of ideas. And that's what everybody said was just like you're always coming up with ideas. So Ideaneer came like that, and it's really just been embracing. It's just so easy to say and do. People can't read, so they're like, what is that, what's your name? And I'm like, Ideaneer. They're like, oh, I get it now. I don't know what that's about, but I'm still having to learn how to say it, teach people how to say it and read it. So yeah, we're just, it's new, it's fresh.
But again, the lessons. And I hope a lot of people can decipher with a lot of these stories that entrepreneurs tell, like the lessons in that. You could have easily just walked away, tucked your tail between your legs, like, you know what, that wasn't meant to be. I'm gonna just go ahead and take my ball and go home. But now you pivoted, and again, that experience with the street team, with the politicians, with what I'm saying, being in the streets before social media kind of had you bulletproof and battle tested to be able to do it without that technology, without data farming. So shout out to you for being able to pivot and come up with another dope idea. Being there, that's official.
I appreciate it.
And that's something that modern day entrepreneurs we got to be ready for, because in reality of it is we don't own these platforms. And so if you're getting all your audience from a certain platform or from a certain media account, and you don't have that intel backed up, the identifiers backed up, their contact information backed up for your audience, you can lose your audience very easily.
Yeah.
Because you don't own that platform. So that's something that you should do consciously, is try to get that information of your patrons, other people you deal with, so you have that backup, just so you can send that email out and say, "Hey, my page is down, but contact me here."
Exactly. It's like when Instagram shut down randomly. Like, what it was 2 years ago.
Yep.
And nobody could use it. But if you had an email list, you could just email your people and be like, hey, this is what I was going to show y'all on Instagram since it's down, but we can do it here. So it's just important to make sure you have all your, especially if you're selling products and a service. If you are an entrepreneur, like, you got to be able to touch your people when social media can't help you touch them. The algorithm right now is so crazy that, like, you need to create your own algorithm. And what does that look like for you?
Of course. So you mentioned several different things. So we talked about a couple of things that you've done. Give me a full list of these different things that you're into. Oh, we're not ready for that yet, Bennett?
No, I'm about to say, we were talking before we hit play. It'd be easier to tell us what she doesn't do.
Okay.
She's been in a bunch of different spaces, everywhere. It's always something. Again, you know me, Ben. You know how I do my research before these podcasts. I'm hearing stuff right now that I ain't even hear. I'm looking at some of the stuff she sent us beforehand. I didn't even know about that. So I was like, man,
I done heard
because I didn't do my due diligence. You just on it.
Radio, HR, and networks. Yeah, that's a lot of different stuff. I just want to get the full resume. That's all.
Yeah, my resume is sick. I got like 2 resumes. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. Like, whatever I want to do, I literally have a resume for it. So uniquely enough, like, I'm literally self-discovering, right? And I've just realized that I am honestly a project manager. And the reason why I can just say that boldly is just because I take on projects, I'm able to see it from idea to execution, and then I'm ready to move on. So for me, I don't get attached to things. I literally am like, oh, I can build that out, and I just build it out, and then it's just done. And I'm like, voila, what you need next? And so, just kind of move on. So with that, when I started HR, I was actually in a co-op program. So I was in Future Business Leaders of America and FBLA in high school, which played a very intricate part to where I am today. And so right now I'm just trying to create some partnerships with FBLA now, locally here in Atlanta and back home. But anyway, I started out in FBLA. My teacher was like, hey, I got a super dope job opportunity for you. It's a receptionist job. And I'm like, okay. It was at a local water utility company in Columbus. And so I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Whatever. So I go apply, and it was actually an HR job. And it was, so I was there 4 hours a day, and I literally grew up in corporate America. Like, I was there for 9 years at that company, in that same job, in that same office. And I was like, I gotta go. But the crazy thing is that people didn't know that I had an actual job because I was doing marketing so heavy that they didn't know. So at one time I had 4 jobs, y'all. I was like, I was I was doing HR during the day. I was leasing apartments because I was able to get my apartment for free by working there and getting commission. Then I was promoting parties with my brother and his team. And then I was working street team with a radio station. Once I had quit leasing apartments, I went straight to being a receptionist at a tax office. So I did that. So I was doing HR. And then I was just like, all right, now I'm ready to do community activism. So I just just doing things on top of things. The crazy thing is I was staying with my parents for a long time. So I didn't have no bills. My parents gave me a car. So I was literally just taking opportunities. And like, I was always told, don't tell people no. Like, don't tell people no, you can do it. So I was just doing everything. So it was just like, yeah, I can do that. And so I just started doing it and learning things on on my way. And so I got into artist development, working into radio. So 2010 was very pivotal. So I was doing artist development. I had my own campus organization at CSU. So I went to Columbus State University. I had my own campus organization. The student government told me I could have my own organization. I was like, y'all are playing. They told me how to do it. I went in front of, student council, and I'm like, hey, this is the organization we want to start. This is what I want to do. I recruited students to, go down that journey with me, got me an advisor, and we hit the ground running. So I was able to basically take my brother's organization, and I was able to take the radio station on campus. So everything. So now we had access to campus that they could not have. The community could not do anything on campus. You had to go through a group organization, whatever the case may be. I boxed them niggas out. So I was like, you know what? So we had meet and greets. I mean, at this point, Joe Budden was on Pump It Up tour. We had the clips. So we actually had students rap battle in front of the clips.
Good times.
We had Anne Marie. I mean, any and everybody at that time was literally coming to Columbus from Atlanta. Tip meet and greets, Gucci came, day 26. I mean, I've literally had any and everybody I've done an event for in Columbus. And so doing that, I actually started doing events. And so we had like National Pillow Fight Day. It's normally in April, on April Fools. And we all met at the Clock Tower. I had it sponsored by the apartment complex that I was working for. And so my brother would DJ. So like literally, I mean, I had no budget, but I was like, I was the man. I was doing everything. So with artist development, I was like, yo, I can get you in front of college students. So what I did was I used to have these performances called Coming Up Next. So it would be local artists used to come and perform. And I look at some of the pictures and it would be hundreds of students because they ain't have shit to do. I have hundreds of students in there. You get to boo, all that kind of stuff with the artists. And then I'll have record label reps come and give them feedback, kind of like American Idol in a sense. But so it was fun. I mean, I literally did anything and everything that you can think of while I was in school. I did not finish. But it was so intricate to like everything that I did. I mean, when I tell you college life was the biggest lesson for me, I learned so much and I took away so much from those opportunities. So yeah, so I did that. And so left HR, went into recruiting because that was really what I wanted to do. Went into recruiting, went into career coaching. I've been a sales agent before I became an actual realtor. So I've always kind of been in real estate from leasing apartments and things of that sort. What else have I done and not done? Marketing. I love marketing. I've always been into marketing and yeah, entrepreneurship. So yeah, that's my resume.
As a person who spent the better part of 6-7 years on the college campus myself and never walked away without a degree still, the networking and the lessons that you learned there are much more important than the paper. Just always remember
that. Amen. I don't feel bad for it, y'all.
No, not at all. Like those are the people I met on college. At college, my first 3 or 4 weeks there in college ended up being the network that I'm with the rest of my life. So like it's invaluable.
Yes, I tell people that all the time.
Shout out to the fellas in the Extraordinary Investment Group because many of them are there. You know, recognizing your greatness, not saying no to things, being open to being flexible, learning some like all that stuff you did. Like I can relate to because like growing up, people was always like, "Oh, Nate." Like when I come around, like Nate, what you selling now? Like I see like new people, parents, I come in their house and they ain't see me in a while. Like, "Oh, Nate about to sell me something," but. Like I've been in so many different areas doing so many different things, different odd jobs. Like, but again, that stretches you. You grow, you learn. You know what I'm saying? You be more bulletproof is the term I use all the time. But yeah, that's been your journey and all the things that you've done for sure.
I need to really write that stuff down, y'all, so I don't forget.
Like your resume?
Like the timelines. Like I've never just sat down and wrote out like the big picture because I didn't even get to talk about I'm a published author. I had a mobile app for 5 years. Like I had a resume making app. It was called Marketable Resume, and this was on Android only in 2016. Yeah, and I got the app for free. Like I basically taught this guy as a career coach. He was trying to get into the mobile app industry. So as a career coach, I was just really working with him and I secured his first job at Logitech. And he was just like so grateful. And he was like, what you want to build? I'm going to build your app. And that was just like what it was. So my network always pays homage. So yeah. So it's a lot of stuff I've done. I just don't have it like, I just get to do shit. Like, and I'm
see, you like that's the second time or third time you talked about that. Using the power, leveraging the power of your network.
Yeah,
so a lot of
relationships.
Build the relationships, and once you have genuine relationships, because you provided value for him to begin with. It wasn't like he just gave you a website. You did your work for him, and so once you get there, or with your brother, with you being able to use your brother and then on the college campus, being able to bridge those gaps in your relationships a lot of times can save you a lot of money and effort.
Yes, sir.
And because you got a relationship over here that you
Yeah,
can use over here, and you ain't got to pay for it because you already had that relationship. So
exactly.
that's a very important, another very important lesson that you talk about right there is just leveraging those relationships that you have and using them to your advantage, because and they're there because you already bringing value yourself.
That's right.
And what we do as an investment group, like, our last Juneteenth event where all the news, casters were pulling up, we had all the stations and everything. Like, everything we've done has been, yes, we work hard, but it's been because of the relationships. We just 12 dope individuals. Like, we're not weird about it neither. Like, we don't go into situations thinking, okay, I'm gonna get A, B, C, and D. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just authentically show up in those spaces as yourself. You provide value, and then on the back end, like, it's gonna come back to you. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
Like, there was the old adage: it's better to give than to receive.
That's right.
You're giving that good energy to the world, and it's coming back to us naturally. So, um, yeah, the power of those relationships. So, being that you are the networking guru, right? Give the people just some practical tips on how to properly network, whether it's in a networking event or just out in the world, being the best version of yourself.
Yeah, so one of the things that I am learning is that networking just comes organic for me. One of the things I was talking about before, I don't know if it's just because of where I'm from. Last night, for instance, I was just in a room with some greats of all times. I mean, some greats of all times. If you see my stories and you know who was there, but to be in an intimate setting, I didn't even talk to them. It was like, I for me, when it comes to networking, I network horizontally because that's where the relationships are purposeful for me.
Say
So,
that
like,
again.
I
Say
don't talk to talent, or I don't talk to the influencer. Who's the marketing person? Who's the business manager? Who's the accountant? Who do I know that I can actually build a relationship with? Because when I need that plug, then I'm able to like utilize it from there. But if I can build that genuine relationship with that person, we exchange, we bartering now, da 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 da. They're always keeping me top of mind because when that celebrity influencer talent says, I need some shirts, somebody to partner with. I need somebody to, be a brand ambassador for. Who they gonna think of? You know what? Tasha got this brand, or Tasha do a market. I need to call her. She'll be a good person. I've been talking, meeting up with her lately. I trust her. She dope. Da, da, da. Like, you're thinking about that, but to go talk directly to the talent, they're so used to talking to people, and it's
Mhm.
like, what are you gonna say? Hey, I do this. Okay, everybody does that. I don't. The relationship is not built with them. You build the relationship with their team. So the first thing I can tell people in regards to networking is just try to find out horizontally. Like when you go to LinkedIn and you're trying to find somebody to network with in a company that you're trying to be hired with, you can go directly to the manager if you want to and just like shoot your shot. I mean, why not do it? But then you also want to make sure you're connected with the recruiters. You want to make sure that you're connected with somebody that's on the department, because eventually you're gonna have to interview with somebody on the team. You're gonna have to interview with the recruiter. So go ahead and start building those relationships with the people that you know you're gonna have to touch anyway. That could be cheerleaders for you. So I talk a lot about, we have a blog on our website for my networking apparel. It's called our networking narratives. And so it's just basically telling stories or giving tips and strategies in regards to networking. And one of my favorite blogs just talk about the type of people you should have in your tribe.
Mm.
And, we do a lot of tribe building. And one of the things, I follow Pastor Mike Jr. And he was basically having a sermon talking about the power of the pick, about the people you pick and the places you pick and the things that you pick, right? And a lot of times we try to pray over picks that we chose when we had no business choosing them. And now we want God to fix it. But it's like, nah, you just kind of got to fix that on yourself. So when we intentionally know who we should have in our circle, that's the only way we can kind of grow better. Like, we all can't do the same thing. We all can't say yes. We all can't wear purple. Like it just all doesn't make sense for
Yeah.
it to be so seamless. So because it just continues to do this and we're not, we're not doing
Hmm.
this. And so I talk about making sure you have a mentor. I don't have a mentor myself. It's something that I've always kind of picked up people along the way. I've never just said like you're my mentor, but there are people that have always kind of like tugged on me, or I've kind of reached out to, and I'm able to call them and say, I got a question for you. What you think about this or that? Having a sponsor. So a sponsor is just somebody that is in a position, right? And they can actually put your name in a hat and say, hey, you need to talk to Tasha. Tasha is a person, she gonna be good for this role. Put her on a piece of paper, interview her, talk to her, or buy into her brand, buy her products, get you a sponsor, somebody that's above you and they can put you in position. That's a sponsor. You want to have an advocate. An advocate is just someone that's pretty much horizontal. They're out and about. When I go out and about with my friends are my advocates. I literally don't even have to do my introduction. They do it for me. They like, hey, you don't know my friend Tasha? Tasha do my networking apparel. She do marketing. She do this. Those are my advocates. They make sure before I go into any room that I know who I need to know. They make sure that I am introduced to all the people that I need to be introduced to. They make sure that I have content with these people. They make sure I follow up with these people. They're really just advocating for what I do and why I'm trying to do it. And then cheerleaders, of course, to me are my family. My family are my cheerleaders. I can just, tell them my accomplishments. I can tell them what's on the way. And they're like, well, we're praying for you. We're rooting for you. They're just rah for you and just in your corner and want to see it through. But that is the biggest thing that you can do with your network right now is just identifying who's where and how you need them to be. And it's okay to evaluate your friends. Doing inventory on your friends is big too. So, if you make room for those that you need, is definitely important when you're trying to grow and be successful.
So say that one more time. We got the cheerleader, we got the advocate, we got the sponsor, and
And the
who else? A
mentor.
mentor, for
Yes.
sure. I feel like that's an acronym in there. So you mentioned Fort Benning. I got a military background, so everything is an acronym. So we're gonna come up with an acronym
I
for that.
know. I'm gonna work on that. I'm glad you said that. I'm gonna write it down right now.
I mean, I'm surprised you don't have it already. Everything else is so strategically like bam, 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 bam. You don't have an acronym for ACSM?
No, like
Max.
I'm
Max.
I'm gonna come up with something.
You gotta have some max.
Is that what
Yeah,
that is? Okay, I'm gonna look at it.
that ain't what it is. Don't let me mess your acronym up. You got it.
I'm gonna take your word for it. I might have to rename them to something else just so it will fit into something.
Mm-mm. Something you said that I learned from this guy that ended up being like a mutual fund hedge fund manager years ago. I met him at a networking event, and just watching him, like you ever see somebody that just works a room and they do it so effortlessly. I'm like, damn. And then when I see him work like me into that room, I was just like, damn, I've been watching you for like the last 30 minutes. And then like how you just effortless. So one thing he used to do, shout out to Jason Elias, he'll be on the podcast sometime. We already been in talks, but a lot of people go to events saying, okay, I'm going to meet 5 new people. Like that next step to that is to introduce those 5 people to 5 people, right? So one of his things he used to always do, oh, you don't know, you got to meet Nate. Nate, hey, meet so-and-so. Like remembering the people's names that you do this. Oh, well, you got to meet. And he'll take people by the hand. Here, come here, go over here. Bam, you need to meet this person. So when
That's
you were just
literally
talking,
what I
you were
do.
just talking about that right there, being a connector
Mm-hmm.
is super powerful when networking.
Even just saying that, it's just doing 16 personality test. 16 personality, it's another, like, just doing a personality test on yourself so you can understand who you are and the core of
Mhm.
you before you even go networking, because you may not know if you're an introvert or extrovert. It's important to kind of know, because that'll help navigate you in rooms. Like if you know you're introverted, then you need to take your extroverted friend out with you. If you're an extrovert and you see somebody being a wallflower, it's easy
Mm.
to like pull them in and like grab them in. So when I have our networking events, we have our networking events bi-monthly. And I intentionally, if I see people talking for too long, I'm like, all right, y'all got 2 minutes, wrap that up, and I need y'all to
Yeah,
move
yeah,
around, or I'm like, hey, I listen to everybody's pitch when they come in the door. I'm like, so what do you do? And so I go, you need to meet and I take them right to who they need to meet. And I don't even say what they do to each other. I
Right.
just say, so what do you do? Tell them what you do. And I just walk away and I go right on to somebody else. And I'm like, hey. And so, I'm a connector on accident. I'm really not a connector, but
Hmm.
just because I understand, I'm always thinking about the next step or what somebody needs. I'm more of a pioneer. So that's just kind of like how I drive things. So it kind of plays in both.
So I got a question about what you just said. So now we're gonna be full disclosure. Me personally,
Okay.
I'm a introverted extrovert. So I go out, but I don't mind being on the corner by myself, or I'm here with my pretty date, and we go sit here and we go sit here and be quiet and enjoy ourselves.
Right.
So in these networking situations, I feel like I need to bring Nate with me or Yannick with me at all times, or I'm not as effective if I don't have them doing that.
Right.
So I guess the question I have for you is, because I was expecting for you to say try to work on that, but you said no, bring your friend with you. So you feel like knowing yourself and doing what's optimally for you is the best way to do these situations.
Yeah. So you need to go to my networkingapparel.com
Come on, go plug it. Plug it.
Nah,
and
she right though.
shirt because no, like a lot of times your friend's not gonna show up, right?
That's the,
And
that's the
so
problem. That's
my
the problem. When I need him there, sometimes I can't get him, and so I have to do it myself. And I feel like, and I leave the situation. I feel like I've been so much more effective if I'd had Nate there with me. He'd be able to navigate those. So like what you said is right,
so
100%.
like I told so Tuesday night I was going to a networking event. And I'm like, this is a new space. I don't know these people. So I gotta wear my shirt. Like tonight is the night to wear the shirt, right? And so I go and wear the shirt. So the shirt works it for me because all I gotta do is walk around and look good. So I'm banking on 50% is the personality, 25 is the shirt. The rest of it I could just work myself when I start talking. So
Hmm.
I'm a numbers person too. So, I'm just thinking about the odds. So it's like, all right, how many people do I think the shirt could pull? And then how many conversations I'm gonna have to carry myself. So with that, it's just thinking again, I'm very strategic. So when you're going networking, right, and you go just like, hey, Nate, I need you to come to this networking event. He's like, man, dog, I got something to do. I can't go. You can't opt out because you don't know. Like Nate not being there is like taking a crutch from you so you could do your thing. Because what happens when you're introverted, right? Your extroverted friend begins to steal the shine from you. It's no
Mm.
longer about you, and this is your event to do your thing. But then it becomes their event, and then you still didn't meet nobody because you're still off the strength of Nate. So a lot of times you kind of gotta, if he can't go, then it's like, all right, that means I need to go because this is my time to shine. And so that's why I tell people like this may not be the event to bring your wingman. And our email list the night before the event, I'm like, your friend didn't want to come. Don't worry about it. You don't need a wingman. Like I remind them of that. And so at our last event, the girl was like, I'm so glad you sent that email because my homegirl couldn't come. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go because of the email. Absolutely. The shirt is the wingman. Like it does it for you. It comes with you. It does its thing. It gets to talking for you. But you just got to be reminded that if your friends can't go, that means it's your time to shine. That is like the best tip I can give anybody that's an introvert.
I appreciate that.
And Ben's like authenticity wins though. At the end of the day, like you trying to be something that you not, they gonna pick up on that energy every time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I've been in spaces early in my networking, endeavors trying to like I would have seen a guy like Jason, and then I would have went to the next event trying to do it like exactly how he did, knowing that's not me, and it would have came across awkward. Matter of fact, it reminds me of I know one of my favorite scenes from the show Atlanta, where they sitting in a jail cell. And he's like, stop being weird. Like, you're being weird. You're not being yourself. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
yeah, that authenticity gonna win every time. Now you can stretch yourself to try to become and morph yourself into what you want to become, but you know, tap in like kind of remind me of the episode we recorded last night. Tapping into who you are authentically, and like Tasha said, there's tests that you said 16 personality. There's the I forgot some of the other ones, but yeah.
I know. I mean, type in personality test, take the free one. Don't make that shit. Don't
What's the
like
what's the what's the good one though? Like what's the
60
one you prefer?
personality is really
16
good.
personality. Okay,
Yep.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yep.
Mhm.
I think I do a good job analyzing myself. And like you say, and Nate, that's where I live. I live in the real section. So like I'm good with that. So when I say I feel like I don't do it properly, it's more so I know if I'm here with Nate, I come back with 20 contacts. Whereas though I'm there by myself, I met the guy out in the smoking section, and me and him kicked it off. But that was a real genuine relationship. You feel me? So like it's just different.
And it's okay. Like I tell, when I started networking, one of the things that I realized, like I would network. So I go to networking events for so many different industries that I'm not even in. Like I go
Mhm.
to film industry networking events, and people always ask me, like, why do you go to those? And I'm like, I don't know. You never know who you'll meet. Like I just go. But it gets me out my comfort zone because then I'm introducing them to something that they wouldn't even be interested to. I'm really just selling my networking apparel. I mean, that's the reason why I'm going to these
Mhm.
events.
Mhm.
I mean, theoretically, though, you just don't know where the diamond in the roughs are when you're going to these networking events and who you may need.
Yeah.
I really like to just, if I'm invited to something and I'm available to do it, I just do it. Like I'm really just all about where I'm called to be, right? And so I think a lot of times we kind of get hung up in all the logistics of trying to be somewhere. And if it doesn't work out, stop trying it, let it go, try next time. But if it's just like you're sitting there, you're doing nothing, this opportunity comes, do it, right? And so I flow into that. And so I know I'm supposed to meet who I'm supposed to meet and do what I'm supposed to do. So I think we just overthink networking. And that's just one of the things that I'm working on in my platform. It's like somehow I become this networking guru. I don't know how. I mean, I do know how. It's
Yeah,
a
for sure, you
monopoly
know.
at this point because nobody's talking about networking. Nobody's talking about relationship building. What's relationship capital? Like, we're not even talking about that yet. And like the power of relationships and how it makes you money. It's currency when you know people. Like, I one of the things I created in 2012 was my own mission statement. And I was just literally talking about that my wealth was going to come in the millions of people. And I was just like, as long as I know somebody and they owe me $1, I'm wealthy for the rest of my life. Like
Mhm.
they owe me something because it's just like when I left her, I was so impacted. She gave me this, she did that, da, da, da. And I meet people all the time and they're like, man, I remember when I ran into you and da 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 da, you told me. And I get those opportunities to like re-meet them and see them where they are and like how I impacted their lives. So it's just networking is not hard. It's just literally showing up to be exactly who you are and knowing who you are is the biggest piece. I think a lot of us just don't self-identify. We're not confident in who we are. We're not confident in what we do. We feel like we're less than everybody else and we're just as good as the next person. So a lot of it, when people ask me like, what books do you recommend for networking? And honestly, I recommend mindset books because 90% of the game when it comes to networking is really your mindset. Because if you are confident in who you are, you carry any room. I mean, it's a no-brainer. So yeah.
And confidence looks different. Like confidence doesn't mean you're the loudest person and you got all the attention on you. You can have a silent, quiet confidence to you about it, like that aura that you exude. Like at one point, like even leadership, there's different forms of leadership, different types of leadership. But again, growing up, I would see one form of leadership, like,
Right.
I gotta be like that, I gotta be like that, until I got back to who I am authentically. I'm like, nah, I'm a leader anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always getting pushed into these leadership positions, but I'm not the prototypical what everyone thinks leadership is. Let me lean into that a little bit more. And once you lean into that authenticity, it's a wrap. Like that's your superpower. Like game changer.
That's
When
what
I
I
was
said about the
yeah,
shirt.
it's yeah.
Or just get the shirt.
I,
Get the shirt.
and
Get
that
the
takes care of it for you. That takes care of
or
it
the
for you.
hoodie.
Or a
Or the
hoodie,
hoodie. Or the
buttons. We have buttons.
button.
We have shirts, different shirt colors.
You got
Our
flavor.
shirts are limited edition. They're super comfy. If you've never purchased our shirts, like I am a quality queen. Especially that hoodie that Nate got on. So it's funny. So it's the DJ that kind of went viral. He's an influencer that went viral for DJing on the stove. So he take the plate on the stove and he just DJ and mix songs. Okay,
Mhm.
so
Mm.
he's been wearing a hoodie and he's just like, I ain't gonna lie to you, I slept in it the last 2 nights. And so he was like, man, it's so comfortable. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm like really good on vetting out my quality when it comes to our apparel. That's a huge piece for me. But yeah,
Hoodie season's here. Cop up. Get ready.
hoodie season is here. Okay.
I just put this on for the interview, and I'm wearing this out tomorrow.
Hey,
So I got some places to be tomorrow too. So
We won't see this for another couple
yeah,
weeks.
you good. You good.
no judgment.
Not at all. So let me ask you this: if so, now that you've done all these different things,
Mhm.
um, do you see a career pivot, another one coming up? Are you here now? Like, what's your next evolution?
Um, so that's why I've been in this self-discovery year.
Okay.
Real estate is supposed to retire me from hustle culture, which is the reason why I got into real estate. I wasn't quite ready to be an investor. So becoming a realtor was like an eye-opener. I purchased my home like a few years ago, and so I just felt so like lost. I did not understand what that process was like, what I was signing, what I was doing. So learning it at the back, and I'm like, dang, I should have got this book before I even purchased my house because now, I'm working backwards. It's all good though. The first house is, get off of it soon. So, but however, I the first page in the book was talking about how you could sell water and land and air, and I'm like, you could sell air, you could sell water. So my mind was blown in chapter one for real estate. And so I just realized then like there's so much more. I like to learn. That is like the biggest thing for me is just I like to learn, and I like to learn things that we should know. And so just learning those things and just going into real estate. So um basically real estate is supposed to retire me, but however the core of me is really project management. I mean, I like to work with entrepreneurs that have super dope things, and I just like to bring it from idea to execution. And so I do have a marketing hub. It's called The Bread Aisle. And so with The Bread Aisle, we help brands go from ordinary to extraordinary with all of my super dope ideas. And so basically, I am just like streamlining all of my processes because with marketing, networking is hand in hand. I mean, they are right and left. You can't have one without the other. And so I'm just kind of marrying my brand so that way it just kind of works seamless. So that way I can start targeting both audiences and not try to fight over here for something and this. And so what I am challenging myself is that I pivot internally in regards to what I already have and not pivot outside of what I already have. So if I can pick up anything new that's within marketing and networking, if it's not anything marketing and networking, I cannot do it. So I laugh all the time, and I was like, if somebody asked me about being a plumber tomorrow, I think I could do it. I probably would try. Like, I'm just not afraid to do anything, and so I'm just having to scale down in regards to my ambition. So just that way I can be an expert in what I'm really good at. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Oh, you did. You did.
Not taking them from ordinary to extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Not on the Extraordinary Exchange podcast. We're making
There we
stuff
go.
extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Uh, so we got my networking apparel. We got the bread aisle. We got all these dope brands. What else we got as we close out the conversation? We don't want to hold you too much because I know you probably got another networking event to go to after this.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm
Yeah,
done. I'm done until next week. But yeah, anything else that I have a podcast that's launching really soon. I am still in the works of it. I'm so excited about this new podcast. Y'all know it's a super dope idea. But basically, my entire platform is just to help entrepreneurs differentiate themselves from others, and then also they can identify where is the money. Like we are, we out here bootstrapping, we out here trying to find grant writers, business credit. I mean, we out here doing everything, trying to find where the money at. And I think if we just basically drill down into working in our business instead of on our business, I think we can find the funding right in our faces. And so that's just one of the things that I'm focused on my podcast venture, which also ties in my networking apparel and the bread aisle. So be on the lookout for my podcast. My name is so fun, and it's very southern. I've been in the South a very long time. So when you see like, oh, okay, I know what you mean now. I hear it now. And so I haven't created a launch date yet because I'm still doing preliminary things. I already have some episodes recorded. So yeah, I'm gonna take this episode here and put it on the podcast so that way we are recycling, and my network is your network, and vice versa. But yeah, get you a shirt, mynetworkingapparel.com. You go to askmewhatIdo.com if that's easier. Thebreadout.com, of course. And yeah, I'm a domain head too. So I buy domains every day, I swear. So yeah, get your real estate, whatever that looks like. Digital real estate is buying domain names. That is land online. I tell people that all the time. Whatever you can grab up, get it, because people are buying domain names. If it's something that they really, really want, they're spending thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars for them. And then also get you some real estate properties, get you some real land as well. If that's not something that you're thinking about. Ownership is very important in the Black community. And if we don't know the right people, we're not getting the right information that we need. So, yeah.
Are we gonna get the name of that podcast over here, or that's gonna get released later? Yeah. All right, all right. Say less. Say less.
Okay,
Say
y'all
less.
exclusive. So the name of the podcast.
She tiptoed around it. She was like, the name is super dope. It's real Southern. I ain't gonna give it to you yet, but
I ain't want to spoil it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
who's
cool.
gonna get?
It's
Thought
cool.
we
It's
was gonna
called
get like
Where
a
the
little
Bread
insight. What's it? What?
It's called Where the Bread at, because we all want to know where the bread at. Where the bread at?
Yeah.
I love it.
It's called Where the Bread at. So we're just helping entrepreneurs think out of the box when it comes to they're getting bread, but there is more bread. And where is the bread? Okay.
Everybody got an idea, but very few people have that network to get that bread, to get that idea off the ground. Because, like you said, the grant writing piece is critically important, because it's a lot of people who have these great philanthropic ideas. I would love to do this. I would love to help the neighborhood XYZ. And the money is out there. These corporations are giving money away if you can write a proper grant to get it. And everybody would love to start a little community program or something for the kids. It's everybody wants to do that. You just got to write a grant for it. You can go get that money. So having that situation where people that have those ideas can meet the people that can get you to that bread, great idea. I love it. She a hustler. I like her, Nate. Real hustler.
Bro. When we met at InvestFest, she's sitting there talking to me, right? First of all, the whole aesthetic of the space was dope. But then she just had a whole system of how she invited you, like a lot of Southern hospitality for sure, invited you into the, hey, come on into my space. I was like, huh? Mind you, I was, man, you know how we were down at InvestFest. We were beelining, we were like, we was on a mission. And she invited me over to the space. And as she's talking, I'm thinking like, yo, you on it. I wouldn't even think about what she was saying. I was like, yo, you like, I get it instantly. Like, you didn't have to explain nothing to me. Like, you had your whole spiel, you had your pitch, but you didn't have to explain it. It explained itself. So yeah, she dope. She I can't say she going places because she's already established.
She's there, yeah.
And she's just the sky is not the limit with this entrepreneur right here. So out for her. Whether you're looking out for her or not, you're going to be introduced to her. And we appreciate you for being in this space and sharing your story, nuggets, all the game, showing people how to network, telling people where the bread at, all that.
It's important.
Yes, they can follow me on all social media platforms, Ideanaire, and then follow my networking apparel as well. You'll find all the pages on there. So yeah, I appreciate y'all so much for having me. This was fun. I have not done an interview this year. So
we in the fourth quarter right here. All right.
Yeah, I've been hiding. I've literally not hiding, but I've been working, and I just have not come up to breathe, honestly. And so, with all of the things that I've been having going on, I was just excited about having this opportunity for sure, just because I've been just working, and people that do not know what I've been working on. So to release this episode is going to be great for me, because people are like, "What has she been on?" So I know a lot of people are gonna want to check this episode out. So thank y'all so much for giving me breathing room to do what I do.
Fine. Thank you for coming out. We appreciate you sharing that with us. Being the first people you talked to all year. I'm going to go buy my hoodie right now.
Yes, sir.
And I'll check you out in Atlanta at one of these events.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Nate, when you coming?
Hey, Benz, next time you go to Atlanta, I'm coming. Actually, you know what? You in Atlanta frequently.
Nah, we already got a date. I got you. We'll discuss it all when we're done.
For sure. You look at all right, I got you.
Are you
November.
Darnell Hill?
Yo, that part downhill though.
We gotta link up.
You miss me. All right. Hey, with that being said, we appreciate y'all for tuning in on the Extraordinary Exchange podcast. Me and Benz, we are 2 of 12 Black men in the community doing our thing, building legacies through education and smart financial strategies. Shout out to the fellas in E.I.G, Extraordinary Investment Group, who all help us do this. This is, one of the platforms where we doing that, highlighting dope individuals, entrepreneurs, and making the world a better place. So until next time, we will holler at y'all. Y'all be blessed.
Thank you. Have a good night.